Look in that tall building over there. Who's that in the window? Waving at you. It's me. Hello, friend. It's time to fall asleep.
Hey, fun fans, it's another episode of We Enjoy. This week is actually Zack Snyder's We Enjoy. Did you know that, Eric?
I didn't know that. Is this going to be our first 4-hour episode?
It's our first 4-hour episode. It's also, people with very discerning ears will be able to pick up that we are actually in 4-3 to preserve the integrity of Zack Snyder's creative vision.
Yes.
So if we sound a little more square...
Women sniffing our sweaters.
Oh, that was great, though. Okay, that's spoilers for that. Let's not spoil the most sensual scene from the Snyder Cut right out of the gate. We are the Mattitude Eric. I am Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hello, everybody. It's a busy week with comic book things coming out.
We're beset on all sides by superheroes.
From both universes, the prominent ones.
Yeah, with Marvel and DC, and both camps at each other's throats.
Because you can't like two things.
It's impossible in this climate of fandom. Okay. We are going to talk, because Eric deemed it so. Russ, I'm sorry. I know you've been pushing for Leprechaun so hard, and this was the time to do it, right? Because St. Patrick's Day was this week. We could have done it this week in the main event. We could have. We didn't, because Eric is such a completionist that we have to do the RoboCop animated series, both of them.
Yeah, get to.
We have the privilege of covering both animated series in the main event today. So we will talk about RoboCop, the 1988 cartoon, and RoboCop, Alpha Commando from 1998, 10 years later. And that'll be our main event today. And we're going to do some news, and we're going to have some good things to enjoy, to recommend to you, and then we're going to get the fuck out of here. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. And we are on Twitter at the Matt Fowler and the Eric Goldman. And the podcast is at We Enjoy Podcast. We have a Patreon where you can give us $2 a month. That would be so nice of you to do. And you can get a commercial-free version of this podcast, because commercials are terrible. Even though you and I were raised with commercials and don't really mind listening to them or seeing them as much as maybe some other people in a different generation.
Yeah, or my wife.
Yeah.
She really hates them. I think I've told you, at least, or I can't remember what I've said on this podcast or not, how it's like she's discreetly upgraded our CBS All Access before it was Paramount Plus, because she just couldn't deal with the commercials. All right, cool.
No, but commercials were so prominent for us growing up that we would remember them and remember characters from them.
We're very nostalgic about them, and I will watch YouTube videos of old commercials I grew up with.
Eric reacts to old commercials from his youth.
Yeah, that's going to be our main event one day. Just like watch.
It should be. We're going to watch
this
all
clip of like best of 1985 commercials.
No, but we got to do it franchise style. So we got to watch all the Dunkin' Donut commercials with the time to make the donuts guy.
Yes. Okay, I like it. Then we're going to do all the Zack the Lego Maniac commercials.
It's so sad how he descended into madness, though. I think he's at Arkham now.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the villain in the Matt Reeves sequel here.
Yeah, that's the guy. It's not Riddler, and it's not like it's not any type of serial killer. It's just the Lego Maniac. In the news this week, speaking of mysterious murders and mystery, Eric, do you like mysteries? Do you like murder?
I mean, I don't know about real life murder. Although I guess there are people into it. That Saturday Night Live sketch was very funny about the women who love the murder mysteries. But yes, a murder mystery, a fictional one. I'm into it.
All right. Do you like Rian Johnson?
By the way, this is totally fine. I'm being just totally transparent here that I literally just put in our notes, like, I think we could skip this one.
No, I'm starting with it. I don't look at the notes. What am I? Tell me when I'm supposed to have a cutoff for the notes, Eric. like 2 seconds before we start?
I'm looking at them live. I am like in the moment looking at them online.
I am not. I am not like literally looking at you editing the Google Doc right now. I have a cutoff point, Eric.
All right.
I'm sorry if you roll in late and you're like, want to edit the news. All right. So, do you like Rian Johnson or not? I take that as a no.
Yeah, I do.
It's because you hate Last Jedi, right?
I don't.
What a Mary Sue that Rey is.
I like Last Jedi, and I love Brick. I really like Knives Out, but I freaking big Brick fan. So Rian Johnson plus mystery equals.
And wait, do you also like Natasha Lyonne?
I do. I think she is a funny and unique presence. I'm a big fan of Russian Doll. She's funny on Twitter. What's not to like about Natasha Lyonne?
All right, so now put all three of those together, and you've got a upcoming Peacock series in development that is going to be a murder mystery starring Natasha Lyonne, created by Rian Johnson. It all reminds me of the Super Yaki shirt. It's a Rian Johnson whodunit, that's very good. And Knives Out is great. He's developing that as well as also doing the Knives Out 2 stuff that he's got to do to get that stuff off the ground. So, see, you can say skip it. That was a minute and a half of our lives, Eric.
I guess.
To tell people,
I just knew I didn't have much more to say except looking forward to it.
To tell people that Rian Johnson's got a mystery series coming with Natasha Lyonne. And maybe some people out there listening to us hate Rian Johnson with a passion and want him to stay away from Star Wars. And that just made them all angry, and they're going to go punch a wall. I don't know. We're just trying to make people feel things here.
Sure.
Okay, Eric, do you like... I'm not going to do every news story like that. Okay, so Justified fans may have something to look forward to, perhaps. Again,
I think they have something to look forward to no matter what.
I know, but like, I'm not saying Elmore Leonard fans. I'm saying like Justified fans.
I know,
meaning
but I'm saying Elmore Leonard and the people who made Justified. So
yeah, I know, but if you're a Justified fan, you're going to be way more excited about the fact that Timothy Olyphant is playing the character of Raylan Givens than just something is created by the makers of Justified.
You want the guy in the hat, yeah,
right? And I don't mean Eric from the Real World New York with his many hats.
I did mean that, but okay.
Eric and I were talking a little bit, or messaging each other about the, what is it, Homecoming?
Real World New York. Homecoming.
And just looking back at the original series, the first season of The Real World, and how both of us forgot how many hats Eric Neese wore all the time.
He did. He was very hatty.
Yeah, he was very hatty and very catty. The team behind Justified is reportedly developing a new TV series that could, that's what I'm saying, they possibly have something to be excited about, could bring back actor Timothy Olyphant as Raylan Givens. Now, they're developing a Leonard book called City Primeval, High Noon in Detroit. And while Givens is not a part of that book, it doesn't mean he can't show up because Elmore Leonard is its own crimey verse. There's an Elmore Leonard verse within literature.
Yeah.
And Givens has appeared in several stories of Elmore Leonard. So they're like, why not bring this guy back? And there are talks right now, but that's all that's happening.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I don't think again, I don't know, but I don't think they would kind of like replace the lead character of that book with Raylan. It sounds like there's a way that you could put Raylan in it. And so it might be like Raylan is here like a supporting character or comes in for a part of it, which I'd totally be for, versus it being like a new show centered around him. I don't know if you saw it, Matt. I thought it was very funny the other day to hear that Bosch, which is ending, is going to get a spinoff centered on Bosch. And I'm always like, is it
him opening a gelato shop?
Because that's like when Dexter had just ended and they kept saying Showtime wanted a spinoff about Dexter. And I was like, okay, well, that's...
And then they wanted one about Yvonne Strahovski's character where Dexter could show up. You know,
but that's a spin-off. That's a spin-off. But
but Archie Bunker's Place was technically a spin-off.
Oh no,
of All in the Family.
It's happened before. I just always think it's funny when that's a possibility. But
you're right. It is funny, Eric.
It is very funny. But yeah, I love Justified. So that team doing more Elmore Leonard would get me excited no matter what. The fact that it might have Raylan Givens return, Timothy Olyphant return has him is really cool.
Sepinwall pointed out something interesting about how you could bring Raylan Givens back in 2021 or 2022 or whenever this series gets off the ground, which is the fact that this was a character who, literally the name of the show was he would look for ways occasionally to kill somebody legally as a as a law enforcement official, as a U.S. Marshal, and how it's not quite the culture for that type of TV, that type of cop show these days. So maybe they could be addressed, actually.
I mean, well, Alan was saying how maybe you shouldn't bring him back, but then I think the counter to that is if you do, you address that.
You address it. Did you watch Fargo season 4?
No, I haven't seen 3 or 4 yet.
Oh.
One day.
Wow. Olyphant is in it as a marshal. So
what?
He's in it as a Mormon marshal.
What? Shocking. I knew he was in it, and he definitely has a type of character he plays. But yeah, I think there is a way to do it, to bring him back and sort of address that Justified. It's not like Justified is in the ancient past, but we are kind of quickly evolving with the times. Look, I mean, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like having to like evaluate how they're going to handle the final season, being like a show about New York cops. Like, there's a lot of shows that have like had to have this conversation or decided to not. But I feel like the people who made Justified would want to address that. And yeah, the whole Leonard verse and was it Michael Keaton playing the same character in Jackie Brown and Get Shorty?
No, Out of Sight.
Out of Sight. That's right. And then, of course,
Ray, I can't remember his last name, but he played the same FBI character.
Yeah. And the ever complicated thing of when they split up rights and the fact that they couldn't call Carla Gugino Karen Sisko when she was on Justified, even though it was supposed to be Karen Sisko. So they had the joke about her like changing her, like, oh, you have a different last name, because she'd played Karen Sisko in the TV show. The idea was this was still Karen Sisko, but you can't legally call her that.
So for those who have seen Out of Sight but don't remember, Jennifer Lopez's character was Karen Sisko, played by Carla Gugino on a CBS series,
ABC, I believe.
ABC that lasted one season, and so then when she appeared in an episode of Justified, it was heavily implied that she was Sisko.
It was a stealth crossover because legally they couldn't make it an official crossover.
That's how they just should have handled the Silence of the Lambs for Hannibal season 4. Just made it so like shitty and stealthy.
Right. Like he's like, oh, it's no, I go by Stacy.
Yeah, Stacy Starling.
That's my nickname. Just call me that.
Okay. Game of Thrones. I thought we were done with the talk of all the spin-offs because they've got House of the Dragon coming, and then there's already, they already nixed some of the spin-offs that they had they had in development right as Game of Thrones was ending. House of the Dragon survived, and they're still talking about...
And they nixed the one that they actually filmed the pilot for.
They did film a pilot that's not going forward, and they're still talking about possibly doing a Dunk and Egg series based on those, like, novellas. But now they've got 3 more in the works, Eric. They're tripling down on Game of Thrones. The network has set up 3 new projects that would serve as prequels to Game of Thrones. One project has the working title 10,000 Ships. It follows Princess Nymeria, an ancestor of House Martell and founder of the Kingdom of Dorne. Then, another project is set in Flea Bottom, and the shady labyrinthine slum district of King's Landing, which was featured in all of the seasons of Game of Thrones. And then, the final project is being developed by Rome creator Bruno Heller, also Gotham creator, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, with the working title 9 Voyages, and the series would follow Lord Corlys Velaryon, also known as the Sea Snake and the head of House Velaryon.
Sure.
But Lord Corlys Velaryon is actually set to appear in House of the Dragon. Mm-hmm. So it's a spin-off of this spin-off, it sounds like. called Lord Corlys's Place. And he's opening a gelato shop in Flea Bottom.
I don't have too much to say here about this except, to slightly repeat myself when we talked about a few weeks ago. It's like, Game of Thrones is not dead to me just because I didn't like the final season. I'm up for seeing a cool prequel spinoff. If it's a cool prequel spinoff, I think we just have to see one and see how it is. I hope they don't get ahead of themselves and be like, let's order 10 shows like they're doing with Star Wars right now, which is, no matter what you think about, the sequel trilogy, or if you don't like parts of Star Wars, clearly Star Wars has shown it can sustain itself with multiple property spinoffs, titles. Game of Thrones needs to have this one show first to premiere and to see how it is and to see if there is an appetite for more. I suspect that's kind of where maybe that animated show might be actually happening. We don't know. But these other ones I'm hoping are kind of just in development, and they're going to wait and see. I'm not against any of them in a like, no, it shall never happen. But if they were to say all 5 of them greenlit and they're all premiering next year, I would say that's concerning.
I mean, if Game of Thrones had stuck the landing, I would be like, yeah, juggle all these spin-offs, and it would seem a lot more feasible. But they left with red in the ledger, so they left with, if not negative goodwill, they sort of sapped the goodwill that they had built up over all those seasons, maybe with a zero-sum balance in the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Certainly not enough to warrant this. Like, one spin-off seems like enough right now.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's see how that first spin-off goes, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Okay, on April 2nd, Star Wars The Clone Wars Volume 1 and 2 will arrive on Disney+, along with Star Wars Ewoks Seasons 1 and 2, and Ewoks The Battle for Endor. And Star Wars The Clone Wars is known because... so this was the first Clone Wars animated series.
Just Clone Wars.
Oh, this is just Star Wars Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from Genndy Tartakovsky.
Yeah.
Who is known for Samurai Jack. I believe I said it right, but
I think you did.
It's known for he's known very much for Samurai Jack, and then I think there was a new show that came out a few years ago called Primeval. Is that correct?
I know he had a different show. Yeah, I think that might be the name of it. Sure.
Anyway, he has a very, very distinct animation style, and that is so those that seasons 1 and 2 are coming to Disney Plus in a few weeks.
Yeah. It's a really a deluge of kind of most of the missing stuff that was conspicuous because it was all the stuff that is now considered not canon in Star Wars. And so, they're getting the Ewoks animated series. They're getting the first Clone Wars animated series, the shorts. They're getting the Ewoks live action TV movies are all coming. The only thing not coming is Droids. Well, there's 2 things not coming. Droids isn't coming, which is weird. If they're getting Ewoks, there's got to be a legal thing, I'm guessing, that's holding up Droids. And they're not getting the Star Wars Holiday Special, which, I'm betting Lucasfilm, if he put explicit instructions to never release something, it would be that, because, he legitimately hates it. Except they are going to have the animated short that Boba Fett was introduced in from the Holiday Special, which is the only thing legally they've ever re-released. It was on one of the Blu-ray sets. So that will be on there too. I think it's cool. It's just like it's a piece of Star Wars history. The Clone Wars shorts are the best thing on there, and I love them. I love, to me, when the Clone Wars began, it just shows you, Matt, again, how people hate things until they don't. When the Clone Wars began, people were like, oh, I hate how it looks, and it's not going to be anywhere cool as those shorts. And now people worship it, and they're like, oh, it's the best of Star Wars, and Ahsoka's great, all of which I agree with. But it is funny just to look back on how it was being compared to the shorts so much, and the shorts were so much better, and everyone was more powerful and cooler. I liked the longer Filoni show more, and it's the one I have more emotional connection to, but those shorts are awesome. And even though I don't think that the Jedi should be as powerful as they are in those shorts, where Mace Windu basically destroys thousands of battle droids by himself, it's fun. It's a cool thing to watch as an animation, and it doesn't have to be canon, because that's okay, guys. Just enjoy the cool thing. And now people can on Disney Plus.
Maybe we should rename the segment "Good Thing to Enjoy." Just enjoy the cool thing.
Right.
Hey guys, just enjoy the cool thing.
It'll be a subdivision, yeah.
Speaking of Disney, the Disneyland Resort is going to be reopening, coming up on April 30th. Yeah, and then the hotels, the Grand Floridian Hotel and Spa is going to open on April 29th. And then the Paradise Pier Hotel and the Disneyland Hotel will open sometime in the future, but no dates officially announced yet. So that's got, thousands of people are going to go back to work at Disneyland. I don't know. I don't know what the climate's like out there in LA at this point, or Southern California, I should say.
Yeah.
So good, bad, I don't know. You going? It's all up to, vaccinations.
Yeah, and I won't go until I'm fully vaccinated. I miss it greatly. If you know me or if you follow me on social media, you know that theme parks and Disney, in particular Disneyland, big part of my life. And I had an annual pass, which right now will not even be a thing, and would go at least once a month. And so it's the second thing. It's funny, Trish and I differ on this slightly, because Disneyland's the thing she misses most that we haven't done last year. For me, it is movies, because I think that's
she worked at Disneyland too.
she worked at Disneyland, and she just doesn't have as much. She loves the movies, but not like me. Not like, I go to the movies almost weekly. But Disneyland would be second for me, and I miss it greatly. I definitely want to get back there. I do have that weird, we don't have to go way down this rabbit hole of like, are we reopening things too fast and people need to be still wary? And it scares the shit out of me when I see like St. Patrick's Day, like packed bars. Cause I'm like, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're so close to being able to be there. And I just want people to be like, can you just wait? Can you just wait a couple months as those vaccines roll out more? And I get that people are so stir crazy, especially because we hit a full year. So yeah, I'm happy to
which I almost am able to fully mark almost by when I started playing Animal Crossing.
Right.
Because Animal Crossing's 1 year is today.
To me, I have that really funny, distinct one of my back surgery because I had it on
That's right.
March 16th, the first day of full lockdown quarantine. And it was like a ghost town going out to get my surgery that day.
Like a special song?
Yes, very much so. Which was played in Natural Born Killers, which is where I first heard it. But yeah, so I'm excited Disneyland is reopening, has like a symbol and has a like, oh wow, we're getting back there. I'm also
mission accomplished.
Yeah, because it is not mission accomplished yet. So yeah, but I know I also do know they're going to have like, severe like, limits and whatnot. There was that shitty deadline tweet where they did it in the most sensationalistic way, which is like Disneyland might reopen like 66% higher capacity than originally said. And what really was, if you read it, was instead of opening at 15% capacity, they might open at 25% capacity. So it was like a tweet that was meant to get you going like, they're opening at 66% capacity. They're not. 25. Again, and I understand if you're like, they shouldn't reopen at all just yet. Mileage will vary. But I have heard, for what it's worth, people who've gone to Disney World that like they feel like safer there than a lot of other places because Disney – the last thing Disney wants is to be, the center of an outbreak. So I think they're trying their best to abide by the rules. So I look forward to returning to Disneyland in the not too distant future.
In the not too distant future.
We're just gonna sing a lot today. I'm for it. I like random singing.
You like musicals?
I do.
You also like Yaphet Kotto. You know who's awesome? Yaphet Kotto. Yaphet Kotto. Man, working actor for years and years. He just passed away. Very sad. Can't remember. He was 80, 81 or so.
I think he was 81, yeah.
He appeared in some favorite genre films of people, about our age, Eric, growing up in the 80s, 70s, 80s. Then, he sort of faded his movie career out, but he was on Homicide: Life on the Streets. He was on a TV show for almost a decade. And that's kind of where he capped off his career. He did a few movies after that, but nothing notable, probably like direct-to-video stuff. But his big stuff was, he was in Alien, he was in Running Man, he was the FBI agent Alonzo Mosley in Midnight Run. Mm-hmm. And then he was also
Bond villain.
He was in one of my favorite, though now, you look back at a lot of these films, especially this movie, some sort of cringy, problematic elements to Live and Let Die, but it's still one of my favorite James Bond movies. Roger Moore's first movie as James Bond. Yaphet Kotto is the villain. Sort of very memorable twists in that movie. Also a very memorable death as far as James Bond villains go. And and he passed away.
And he was in a Freddy movie, a really bad one. But still,
yeah, too bad it was The Final Nightmare, but yeah.
He was in Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, but look, I say a bad one, but I've watched it probably 20 times. So
That's it?
I've seen Yaphet Kotto has, a dream specialist who confronts Freddy at one point many times, and I definitely enjoy
He's kind of like the Nancy Thompson of that movie, but he's
the mentor to the Nancy of that
I would say that but he was in the final Freddy franchise run, because after that it was like New Nightmare and Jason and
then Freddy vs. Jason and the reboot. Yeah. I mean, when at some point we'll do the Freddy movies. Yeah, he was in the last proper, even though it wasn't called The Nightmare on Elm Street, it was still in the last of the original series, I'd say. Yeah.
So yeah, he was in Thomas Crown Affair. He was in Brubaker. He was in so many things. Anyway, great actor.
Great actor with just a imposing presence. Great part of Alien, which is such a wonderful sort of ensemble movie. So well cast because the whole idea of like they're truckers in space, that they were like, just people doing their job, which felt like a cool kind of approach in that film. He and Harry Dean Stanton have a great rapport in that movie.
Then, awesome. What else do we got in the news here? Like we already talked about it last week, but because it was on the precipice, the cusp, where Avatar only needed about $7.5 million to beat Endgame, and it did. And it got re-released in China, and it is now, once again, the reigning defending champ of box office history. Avatar is on top again.
And the people that are mad about this.
You tap into the pissiest parts of Twitter, Eric. I don't fall into these crevices.
I guess it's because like I'll see like fandom, who I work for will put out the tweet about like, Avatar, passes Endgame to retake #1 spot, and then I look at the replies and
look what you've done to yourself with these replies.
I know. But it's just so funny the how indignant and how they take it personally, but also they cheated by re-release. I mean, my first and foremost is like, no, they didn't cheat because no one is forced to buy a ticket. What if they re-released it and no one went because no one cared? Because it kind of defeats the other argument. Well, no one cares about Avatar anymore, except Avatar made $20 million. Actually, it made $7 million to break past Endgame, but it made $20 million over the weekend. A lot of people cared. It had a really good opening for an 11-year-old movie that made the most money of any movie ever when it first came out that apparently we're told no one cares about.
Are they overlooking the fact, and you and I love Endgame, but Endgame cheated already. If this is what they consider breaking the rules, of which there are none, Endgame already had a re-release.
Yes, Endgame was re-released late in its run, but then sometimes they'll be like, "Well, that's not the same. It never left theaters." I'm like, "Yeah, but they put it back into a bunch of theaters with some bonus content to get people to go see it." But yeah, it's none of them cheated. It's all fair because no one is forced to go. And of course, if you take inflation into account, not only did Avatar sell way more tickets than Endgame, but Titanic sold way more than both of them, and Gone with the Wind still sold more than any movie ever. So it's just a silly thing. But yeah, and again, personally speaking, way more into Endgame than Avatar, but
way more. I would say you're 100% more.
Well, yeah, but respect the hell out of Avatar's success. I mean, just crazy to think that James Cameron twice made the biggest movie ever. It's really easy to dismiss that. And
he also invented the breakout sequel.
Yep. And Dan Mueller, my former coworker from Fandom, made a great point, which is if you look at the top 10 movies of all time now worldwide, all of them, Avatar, I'm saying, including Avatar because it opened 11 years ago, but again, same difference, made most of its money 2010 after it came out Christmas 2009. Look at the top 10 movies ever. They all came out in the past decade except for Titanic, which is the only one from the 90s, a true phenomenon that, sold more tickets than anything else in the top 10. So just kind of stunning what James Cameron has achieved with barely making any movies in the past 20 years.
And so that's why, there's always that part of me, I think a lot of people who are like, oh man, it's such a mistake to make all these Avatar sequels.
Right.
Because nobody cares about it. But then you just got to be like, man, it probably is a mistake, but also James Cameron, he's able to pull things off that you don't expect. This could be a monumental fuck up, but James Cameron, there's always that factor.
Such height, it's like, I think it's fairly protected because when the first one is made almost, and with these, and again, I think probably next year we're going to get a big worldwide re-release before the sequel, as for a movie that's almost made $3 billion and may pass $3 billion in the next year, if the sequels make a third of that, they make $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
It's like he's got you can't just be like, oh, it made half what the first one made. Bomb. If half what the first one made is $1.5 billion and a third of that is $1 billion, like there's a pretty good room there for it to be way less of an impact than the first one, and still a success. So yeah,
I'm still not going to see it in 3D though this time.
Sure.
All right, let's move on
God, his
to
quote. What is that quote about the Avatar 2 will have you shitting yourself with your mouth wide open?
What's that from? I mean, it's great. It should be the pull quote for every movie.
No, you don't remember this?
No.
I'm sorry. I have to Google this before we move on. Yes, James Cameron in 2014. This was a quote.
He said this.
James Cameron, we know he has a hell of an ego. Yes. And he said Avatar 2 would, quote, make you shit yourself with your mouth
my God.
wide.
I thought you were like quoting an honest trailer or something. I didn't think this came from Cameron himself.
Cameron saying that we will shit ourselves with our mouth wide open.
Wow. Well, now, I mean, wasn't that a Creed song?
It is now.
Man, well, now I have to see it.
I love that.
First day, first showing.
Have the confidence of James Cameron. That's all I'm saying.
Everybody out there, I don't care what you're making. I don't care if it's Airbud 9, but say that. Okay, a few people wrote a few tiny notes this week. I wanted to bring up that Russell on Twitter wrote that Eric's reaction to Matt's hamper sandwich has been the best moment in the history of the podcast. I have to agree. I think I tweeted at him that it's probably will always be the best moment in the history of the podcast because I already feel bad about this week, Eric. We didn't have a spontaneous laugh fit and create a magical moment out of nowhere.
Just now about the Cameron quote, but not on the hamper sandwich level.
Hamper sandwich is always king.
Yes.
It's so sad to have our miso soup moment so early, and now everything is downhill. But what are we going to do? Also, Lauren wrote in on Twitter that she was disappointed that the miso soup wasn't brought up when I was talking about hardware because of Dylan McDermott.
I know. It's funny because we talked about Dylan McDermott and I had a laughing fit, but we never. I think there was an off. You might have mentioned.
I said miso soup when we were having the fit, but not in the context of McDermott. So then also Phil wrote in on Patreon, and you guys can write into us on Patreon or at weenjoypodcast@gmail.com. Or on Twitter, like some people do. He wrote in just wanting to let us know that Hardware, which is the good thing to enjoy I recommended last week, is available to rent on Blu-ray from Netflix for, quote, any of the other weirdos like me out there who still use that Blu-ray service.
I don't fault you for that because you could get a lot more good movies via the Blu-ray service.
Yeah, you just can't have them instantly. Yeah, you can't. You can plan your weekend. Like, hey, I want something to watch this weekend. Mm-hmm. Let it go. It'll show up in your mailbox. But you can't watch it on demand when you demand it. And then Lee wrote in on Patreon that so last week we did a story about Mike Patton covering the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme from the animated series, and I put a bit of it at the end that played us out. And he wrote, that new Turtles tune is painful to listen to. Why butcher a classic? So we've got somebody not enjoying here on We Enjoy. That was not for Lee. I felt like it was kind of a straight cover, but I get it. There were some differences. Maybe he hates Mike Patton, which makes him a terrible person. But, we all can't be great.
Yeah.
Okay. So our good things to enjoy this week. I do want to bring up the fact, before we get into our picks for this week, that I still love Hardware. I still recommend the movie, but it did come out literally 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That director Richard Stanley, I guess, is a horrible domestic abuser. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I could say bad timing on my part, but bad timing on his part for being a domestic abuser and just being an awful person. Fuck him. He seems like an awful person now. Do I want to watch Color Out of Space? I don't know. I'll have to decide. I'll have to figure out what my line is, but that all came out. So I just felt like I should let everyone know because he, a woman came forward with some pretty awful accounts of his behavior. And, he is the director of Hardware, and
the company behind Color Out of Space like cut ties with him and actually said they're going to like give any future proceeds from that movie to like charity, which was a really cool move. In no way, it's a very serious thing, and it sounds like he did awful things. So I don't want anyone to think we're making light of that at all. It was just a like, what are the odds that Matt would have recommended his movie like randomly?
Well, here's the thing: I was always going to recommend Hardware because me and Hardware, but
it's just the fact that you'd recommend it that week, like because if you'd chosen to wait a week, you wouldn't have recommended it this week. I'm guessing to give it a little distance.
Yeah, probably not. Good point. So that's just how the universe works sometimes, Eric.
Yep.
You never know. Oh, I am looking at the Google Doc right now and saw that you changed your good thing to enjoy, Eric.
I did, based on that email. I just had to be a little more topical.
All right. Well, I'll start with mine. Well, actually, you start, since it'll piggyback off the email. Actually,
okay.
Or the write-in on Patreon. So, yeah.
Again, because, there was the I can't remember, what was the name of the person who mentioned the Netflix by mail?
Phil,
you would definitely like, I hope, but anyone would like, because it's just an interesting documentary. Netflix versus the world. I was thinking about this anyway because there was a lot of attention paid this past week that there's that documentary, like The Last Blockbuster on Earth, I think it's called, that Netflix picked up, and it was like, oh, ironic. Like, there's a documentary about the last blockbuster still out there, and Netflix is going to be the home of it, which is ironic. And then I thought, well, I hope I want to see that documentary, of course, but I hope people check out, if they haven't, Netflix versus the World, which is a documentary from a couple years ago, whose title I think is very misleading, because I think that title insinuates people are going to think, oh, this is how Netflix came in and just the Netflix of the past 10 years, like changed the game, changed everything with streaming, really like dominated, became a company that the other media companies were kind of fearful of and changed their own business model to try to match. That's not what this documentary is about. What I just said is included at the very end, but what this documentary should have been called is Netflix versus Blockbuster, because the brunt of it is about the rise of Netflix as a mail order DVD company and how it was neck and neck with Blockbuster. And stuff I didn't know about kind of how close it came to Blockbuster winning that battle, and even buying Netflix.
Yeah, this is like the Monday Night Wars.
Yes. And so in a way, they kind of rushed through at the very end. I think because they know people kind of know that more, and maybe it could be in its own documentary. The streaming stuff, much more about those early days, and they talked to a lot of the people that were there who worked for both companies. And there was, like I said, a lot of minutia I didn't know about it, and I thought it was very interesting. So if you want to check that out and see, again, it's Netflix origins, right? It is how this company beat Blockbuster and then went on, which gave them the power to become what they are now. But you can check that out on Prime.
Who are the real losers and the real winners in all of this, though, Eric? I would just think, so Netflix devours Blockbuster, and then you've got the Last Blockbuster on Earth thing that's out now. People, lamenting and mourning the loss of Blockbuster and how they miss it. Or people have said like Hollywood Video or other chains, but let's not forget those chains, especially, of course, Blockbuster, put to bed and put a knife in the heart of the independent video stores.
Right,
so, everything kills something else. Everything eats something else. It's just a circle of life. Apex predators
I was
capitalizing.
Because there was an independent video store not that far from my house that when I moved into this house a couple years ago, I was like, oh my God, there's this video store. It's kind of a little above that an area I wouldn't go by too much, but when I passed, I go, I got to go there. Never went there. And then it closed during the pandemic. So that's on me because I had a while to go there before the pandemic and didn't.
There's always a bigger fish, as they would say in Phantom Menace.
Yep. But yes, so it's on Prime. It's also on Pluto, if you don't mind ads, if you're not married to me. And you can rent it on Amazon.
Or married to the mob.
Why would you rent it on Amazon if you don't have Prime? Never mind. I just answered my own question.
I like it when you discover revelations like that in the moment.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think we've had any reports out there so far of anyone actually watching our Good Things to Enjoy. So, but again, if anybody ever does, write us at any of the previous places I said you could write us and let us know what you thought. I still don't know, what to think about Picnic at Hanging Rock. Like if anyone actually watched that and what they thought of it. This movie I'm recommending is an oldie.
I was impressed by how old it was.
Impressed by the elderliness of it?
Age. I was impressed by age, yes.
Okay. It's from 1957. It's a drama film called Sweet Smell of Success, and it's got Burt Lancaster and Tony Curtis in it. And it is a talkie. It is a very dialogue-driven movie that has some of the best dialogue ever. I think it's just, but it's also got its own type of dialogue. It's very, very, I don't want to say it's film noir, but it's very heightened dialogue. It's written by a very renowned playwright named Clifford Odets, along with Ernest Lehman, who wrote some of the most famous movies of all time, like Jesus Christ, like North by Northwest and King and I and Sound of Music and stuff like that, West Side Story. So, and it's got two top-notch actors, but it's a weird movie. I'll just say that out of the gate. And for those of you, and I'm fearful that people who watch Picnic at Hanging Rock will be bored by it because that movie is so like quiet and trippy and very atmospheric. Well, I'm afraid people will be bored by this one because it's a lot of talking. It's just, it feels like a play. Right. But it's got some of the catchiest goddamn fucking lines you'll ever hear. The cat's in the bag and the bag's in the river. Jesus, that's amazing. Anyway, it is
and
about...
that's a phrase I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
Did this movie originated?
Yep. The movie's about sort of a unscrupulous... Is it unscrupulous or inscrupulous? Whatever. Sleazebag. I'll say that.
Sure.
Gossipy newspaper columnist played by Burt Lancaster, and he's sort of like the cock of the walk. Like, everyone's afraid of him because if he writes... oh, God. What's the name? Lady Whistledown. He's like the Lady Whistledown, for those of you who've seen Bridgerton.
I have not. Sorry,
okay.
You said that in a way that I was like, am I supposed to know?
I'm just saying, Bridgerton's a thing of the moment. He's like a columnist who can kill your career with the type, the click clack of his typewriter. Like he runs the town. He's got all the scandals. He's got all the scoops, and he's very arrogant. And then Tony Curtis is a sort of also sleazy press agent. And I don't want to give too much away about it, but it's a weird, unsettling movie featuring kind of grimy, dirty characters, and then also implied incest. I guess as much as you could apply back then, in 1957. So everyone's got secrets, everyone's got scandals. There are elements of LA Confidential that remind me of this movie, with the Sid Hutchins character and so on. But apparently, I was just doing a little background reading on it before the podcast, that test audiences did not like it because they were used to, at the time, I guess, seeing Tony Curtis playing good people, like a good character, like a nice guy, and he is really smarmy here, and that put them off. This is what puts people off in 1957, by the way. But since then, it is, it's part of the National Film Registry that's held by the Library of Congress and stuff like that. So it's one of my favorite movies, and it's an oldie, and you can rent it on Amazon. It is not available for Prime members, so Prime member or not, you got to rent it. But
no, I need to see that. I think I've mentioned to you, I'm trying to see a lot more like classic movies. I've been bad about it, but like I wanted to do it much more regularly than I have. But I have gone into HBO Max, especially, who has such a great catalog and has all the Criterion stuff and all the Turner stuff, and I've been like looking and been like, okay, what is something I've never seen? And I watched a couple Hitchcock things and just like found a couple of old musicals, and that's something I definitely want to continue to do.
Alrighty, so that was our good things to enjoy, or as we might rename the segment, just enjoy the cool thing. That was your suggestion.
It wasn't really my suggestion.
That's your suggestion.
Okay.
Next week's assignment. So we are done. Thank
RoboCop.
Fucking Christ, Eric. After this week, we're done with RoboCop forever.
It's still one of the best movies ever.
Well, yeah. Yeah, the first movie. And then it's been severely diminishing returns every week since.
You don't think it rebounded this week?
It did. Oh, it rebounded from last week for sure.
For sure.
For sure. These animated shows are way better than the live action shows. Way better. Next week's assignment is a one-off and will be Event Horizon, the movie that Eric and I very much enjoy watching. And just a good, awesome space horror movie. Kind of came out of nowhere. I remember conversations back when I was in film school, Eric. There was a Event Horizon camp and there was a Contact camp. Very different space movies, by the way.
Very different.
I liked one more than the other, though I did not dislike Contact.
Same here. Same here. I like Contact, but if you were to tell me you can only watch one for the rest of your life, I'm Event Horizon.
And a lot of people have memeified they should have sent a poet because of Contact. I don't think anyone's really memeified. Well, there is a very famous song that I will put on the podcast next week about Event Horizon.
I've seen a little bit of memeing of some Sam Neill from it and whatnot, but we'll talk more about that next week. Yeah.
All right. It's got Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill and let's see, what'd you put here? It's streaming on Cinemax. Or it can be rented or bought at most of the usual platforms online. So,
yes.
Event Horizon, which Eric and I both own physical copies of anyway. But
yes, we do.
So we're just going to cheat fully.
We don't even have to have Netflix send it to us because we have discs in our home.
Although, if you do have the Netflix Blu-ray service, have them send it to you.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Eric, let's talk. Before we talk about the actual animated series, we'll just bring up very briefly. I didn't do any further research on this. I'm sorry. RoboCop's appearance at WCW's Capital Combat. It's very. I should have done more like why that came to be and why the story behind why they brought RoboCop in. This was in 1990.
It was cross promotion for RoboCop 2.
So this was before RoboCop 2 came out then?
At least the build-up. Because if you look at the poster for the pay-per-view, it is one of the RoboCop 2... It's the RoboCop 2 poster I had on my wall, the teaser of him kind of gleaming blue metallic, with, the Road Warriors in front of him.
The funny thing is that it's billed as Capital Combat: The Return of RoboCop, which makes it sound like the return to the wrestling world of RoboCop.
Right.
But it's really the return of RoboCop in general because the RoboCop 2 hadn't come out yet.
Yes, so this was May, I'm looking it up, May 1990, and so RoboCop 2 opened in June. So this was like a month, it was part of the promotional, for Orion, this was part of the promotional campaign for RoboCop.
So this is an interesting moment in wrestling history where, can you think of any, off the top of your head, Eric, where they brought in, aside from the Muppets, where they brought in fictional characters. Oh, and MacGruber. I think they did a lot.
Chucky.
Okay, so they did a lot of it. They did a lot of it during the Raw guest host days.
The Raw guest host days, but then wasn't Chucky another WCW one?
Yes. But I'm trying to think if there were any before this of a fictional character coming in. Unless we count Zeus. Zeus coming in from No Holds Barred.
That was almost the most dramatic of all.
Yeah, Tiny Lister coming in, playing his character from that movie as if the character leapt out of the screen Last Action Hero style into the world of wrestling to fight Hulk Hogan. So this was an instance of a giant pop culture character, a fictional character, coming into the world of wrestling as that character, as if it exists in the real world, and interacting with quote-unquote real people, right?
Yeah.
And RoboCop's role in Capital Combat was to basically save Sting from being trapped in a cage that was used already in a match. The cage was at ringside because there was a match where Jim Cornette had to be locked in a cage. It was part of a stipulation of a tag team match with the Midnight Express. Afterwards, the cage still remained, and the Horsemen locked Sting in. This is all in between matches. Sting was only on hand as in support of Lex Luger, who was challenging Ric Flair for the title later in the evening. RoboCop single-handedly busts open the cage, rips it off, shows his strength, and the Four Horsemen all cower and back away, and that's sort of the role of RoboCop. That was his role. Now, the most confounding thing is that, and you mentioned this last week, nobody's asked Peter Weller about this, but Peter Weller is credited as playing RoboCop in this instance. It's just funny that he did this but didn't come back for 3.
Again, and it is possible because, again, this was promoting a movie he was in. It might have been something he was kind of dragged into. Was like, okay, Peter, you're going to do the Tonight Show, you're going to do this, and we need you to go to this wrestling show.
and honestly,
in the costume.
Honestly, who else at that point was trained to wear that costume and move like that?
Right.
Like anyone off the street, like they somebody spent like a month trying to like wear this thing and walk down the wrestling aisle.
Right.
I guess it would make sense for Peter Weller to do that. It's just so weird that he did.
Yeah. And again, it's not 100% confirmed, and I do desperately want either ourselves or somebody to talk to him about it.
It's not 100% confirmed, but I'm pretty sure you and I just talked ourselves into it. I think we just really convinced ourselves it was. Like,
sure.
We went from like, our shitting our pants with our mouth open to actually believing that it was Peter Weller doing this. Because when you look at him, it's not quite as recognizable as he is in the movies. I'm looking at him like, is that him? Is it? I couldn't tell. But it is. Let's just say it is and move on with our lives. RoboCop 1998, Eric.
Yes.
All right.
1988.
Yeah. What'd I say?
I thought you said 98, but you might not have.
I didn't. I'm pretty sure I didn't. But you know what? Who cares? We can start with either one. RoboCop 19... Yeah.
Let's do 88. But it's just kind of crazy because we talked a lot about how this character, they decided later, they made the decision, which we don't think they should have, to be like, let's aim it more at kids. But it is crazy that just a year after the movie, they did this cartoon.
Yeah, and then it would be a few more years before RoboCop 2 came out, which was still rated R.
Yep.
It wasn't as, again, satirically violent as the first movie, but it was still hardcore R in that movie.
And a evil kid gets killed in it. Yes.
Yeah. And you feel he's the only character you wind up caring about in the entire movie. And so RoboCop 1988 is, and the funny thing is we also just came off a podcast talking about how parents and various organizations complained about the violence in Dungeons and Dragons. And this was an extremely violent cartoon, I guess, for 1988. Like, tons of bullets flying and things exploding all over the place. So I do wonder.
I had to actually not rewind. I guess I rewound it quickly because I had to be like, wait, did RoboCop just shoot and kill someone? And then I saw it's actually kind of subtle that he shoots them with like a blue energy. So I think it's
like a laser. Yeah.
So it's supposed to infer he probably stunned them, but it's not made explicitly clear. So you could, if you wanted to, be like, oh, he just shot and killed that guy.
Yeah. This and overall, just my umbrella comment for both of these shows is that I like the second one more. This Alpha Commando is actually, I would think, is actually solid RoboCop continuation on its own. But I think this is still better than most of the sequels. It's certainly better than the 2 live action shows we watched. He's not killing anyone, but it's still pretty much tethered to RoboCop. It has a lot of the same stuff. It has a lot of the same stuff that we've come to know from anything RoboCop. It's got OCP, the scheming member of OCP, who's out to take down RoboCop because his own project is, it's not Bob Morton or it's not Dick Jones, but there's a new guy in there. But then this show also had Ann Lewis, and it had Dr. Tyler, who is actually from the movie.
She's the one who... She wasn't a doctor in the movie, but
she kisses him. She's part of the building process. Yeah. So she's in this. I do wonder if there was...
Old Man is in it, and Reed is in it.
Is Reed in this one too?
Reed,
yes, he is.
Reed,
Yeah.
Cecil's in it.
Cecil made the cut. He didn't even make the cut into RoboCop 2, but he makes the cut into the animated series. This is like when Punky Brewster had all of the voice actors come back.
It's not the actors from the movie, but the character. I will say, both these shows, even though the second one goes in its own direction, you could tell that they studied the movie a lot, which is funny because then there was even the character. Did you see of the a-hole cop? Hedgecock, Lieutenant Roger.
Yeah,
Hedgecock,
fucking Hedgecock.
RoboCop.
Well, yeah, because he's a monstrosity, a stinking monstrosity.
He is from the movie. He was the leader of the SWAT team who attacked RoboCop in the parking lot. So they were digging deep here.
Wow, that's a deep pull.
It was a very deep pull.
Well, we should mention too, doesn't happen in this episode, but also a part of this series is Clarence Boddicker.
Yes, animated Clarence Boddicker made me really happy, even though it was just a glimpse in this episode in the opening credits.
Yeah, he wasn't a part of the story in the pilot, but eventually I think he appears in another episode going forward, and then in the finale.
He's not dead in this show.
And then in the finale, he's not dead at all, despite mortally wounding Officer Alex Murphy. The villains in this are Dr. McNamara, and the man. Why didn't anyone tell me when I was growing up in the 80s that I should have bandanas, mullets, camo pants, tank tops, shades?
You were being told that by the media you were watching. So
I know. I just never followed through with it. Why didn't I do that?
It is a funny thing here because as I put in my notes, the gang, the Vandals, is what their official name is.
Not the punk band.
Not the band who had a member of who joined Oingo Boingo in their later years. But the bad guys who are the Vandals are so dreadnoughts, chainsaw guy, flamethrower guy. Now, of course,
Joy Buzzer guy.
Yes. The Dreadnoks, of course, themselves were Mad Max villains. So there's a whole
they were Australian. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, handoff here that has been happening. But we should also mention, this is bringing us back to our first episode, or second episode maybe, because this was the show that didn't get its 13th episode because Pride of the X-Men got the budget for it instead. Because this show was made by Marvel Productions.
That's why there are only 12 episodes of RoboCop 1988, because they didn't make number 13 because Colossus like Rain.
Right.
Pretty much.
Because Marvel Productions took that money. But I will say, Matt, I never watched this show, but it was very comforting because it's a Marvel Productions 80s show, and I watched so many others, G.I. Joe, Transformers being the most prominent, that it still felt like I'd watched this show.
Yeah, the animated style and the voice acting style was very familiar to us growing up in that era, for sure. Did you appreciate the fact that RoboCop gets rid of a bomb the same exact way Wonder Woman gets rid of a bomb in Justice League?
I did, yes.
You just throw it up in the air into the sky.
Throws it up in the air in the sky. I like that Reed here is much more of like a classic buddy cop head of the police department. He's like hitting his desk like, where in blazes is RoboCop? Blast that woman! And throwing his papers off his desk, hitting his desk, just generally messing up.
Yeah,
his own
but
stuff.
What's the name of the mean cop? What's his name? Like Crinklecock?
What's it? Hodgecock?
Hodgecock?
Hedgecock.
I think Reed should have done more to... I think he needed to discipline Hedgecock a little bit. All he tried to do was just separate them. I don't think that's good management. I think he needs to... He's just trying to diffuse the situation and deflect. I don't like the fact that he just basically sends RoboCop on his way. And RoboCop's totally oblivious to all of this. He's like, gotta do my job. Kiss my big toe, Copper.
I put that note down too.
I'm glad that we both have that written on a document on our computer.
Said by Benny with the mullet.
So the Vandals are the opening act. RoboCop stops them, so he's actually kind of successful for the most part. The Vandals get away though. And then we've got Dr. McNamara, who's the kind of, he's got like robot hands that are never explained, and he wears sunglasses in a board meeting because he's an asshole. And he has a Ed 209 type device called an Ed 260. I don't know why they changed that.
Oh, I think it's just a more advanced model there, Matt. Come on.
But it's the same fucking boner machine. It still messes up completely.
Yeah, I mean, it's got bigger guns, but
and it makes bigger mistakes. Well, I mean, it doesn't kill anyone; it just blows up any car.
Again, they do the most they can, right? Because it still shoots at everyone. It just doesn't.
I know. It doesn't shoot people's arms off. So then, Dr. McNamara wants his robots to be the only law enforcement robots. So he wants to discredit RoboCop. So he hires the Vandals to go on a crime spree. He's got the
Dick Jones role.
Yeah, he's hiring them to go on a crime spree to make RoboCop look bad, but then RoboCop defeats them. And Dr. McNamara is very pissed off about that. But in the process of trying to give the Vandals a leg up on things, basically they are the Vandals. They are their namesake. They go around destroying property. That's about as that and robberies, because it opens with the robbery of a blood bank. Like, robberies and vandalism are the crime of this type of show. Like, it's a kid's show. It's not going to go any more hardcore than that. Except the fact that I read ahead in another episode description is like, RoboCop fights the KKK. So, he fights a KKK-like organization called the Brotherhood, Eric.
All right.
That's like a few episodes after this one. But so Dr. McNamara gives them tech enhancements. So they do become a lot more, like you said, the Dreadnoughts, where like they get cyber upgrades.
Well, the Dreadnoughts didn't get cyber upgrades. You're thinking of the Reavers from X-Men.
Oh, the Reavers from X-Men who were also Australian. Never mind.
Who were also Australian, yes.
Oh man, there's a lot of
we had a lot of these like roving gangs in our 80s kids entertainment. So
there's a whole movie called The Warriors too. Like
there is The Warriors, yes.
Okay, so but I did enjoy the fact that the Vandal's dog got somehow metal armor or plates on it. It got like a tech upgrade as well. It got Skynetted.
Yep.
It got whatever happened to the evil sister at the end of Superman 3. like done to it.
He was a cyber dog now, unexplained. There was also a really weird line, and I don't know what I was hearing, because I don't know who said this. I didn't credit my work or who said this, but someone yells, "You priggish Paramecium."
Oh, Dr. Tyler. Priggish or freakish, but yeah, Dr. Tyler and Ann Lewis get into a fight about RoboCop's well-being, and
because Dr. Tyler, they took the name Tyler from the movie, but a very different version. She's a doctor, and also she's kind of like OCP. Like she'll fuck with RoboCop. Like she doesn't really care about him as a person.
Yeah, so she let Lewis have it with a sick burn, I might add, right? A freakish Paramecium or whatever.
Yeah, not the area between your anus and your genitalia.
the perineum, yeah.
But I don't know what that meant, but whatever.
Okay, so this first episode also contains another true hallmark of RoboCop, which is that RoboCop gets fucked up and taken out, kind of. Like,
yep.
That always happens to RoboCop. I feel like after the first movie, because they did it with the first movie, and they did it so well, RoboCop taken out of the game, taken off the game board, has to like repair himself and recollect and gather his strength and so forth. But they do it every single movie and every single TV show. They should have made RoboCop like pretty like the way he was in Alpha Commando a bit more, where he's a lot more capable and unstoppable, and they just need to figure out a way to write that, make challenges for him, like the Superman challenge. Like, what do you do to challenge Superman except for the same thing you do all the time?
Yeah, you know what is really stuck out to me now that we've watched all the RoboCop is it's actually kind of surprising that RoboCop stayed consistent in how he looked for his entirety until like the remake, really. Alpha Commando makes him much bigger and buffer, and we'll talk about that. But the basic design, like if they were making these movies now, it'd be like the Iron Man armor, right? Where like every movie he has, the remake did this. He had multiple looks in the remake. But the original RoboCop look, it's in all the TV shows. Like, he always looks like RoboCop. Maybe he gets like an add-on jetpack or gun arm.
He gets like a red line, like a Cylon redness in his visor here, but that's
and he got the blue tint in the second one, but he basically always looked the same, which actually I think is kind of cool, just because sometimes they overdo the costume changes in some of these things. But it did strike me that if they made these movies today, he would not look the same for nearly as long as he did back then.
All right, this was still a fun episode. It was better than most of the sequels that came after the first one. Was it better than the second movie? Maybe. It was fun. He defeats the Vandals at the end. They have their killdozer. They run him over, but he survives. Again, consistency with what you can do to RoboCop. In some movies, running him over with a bulldozer might have taken him out. But who knows? You never know with RoboCop.
And
what he
you
can
mentioned
survive.
that.
Yeah.
And there's a great line there, which is, "Move it out, Crash. We got a lot more killdozing to do."
Well, he's not wrong.
No,
they do have a lot of killdozing.
I'm not saying it's.
I'm just saying he looks down at his to-do list for today. It says killdozing a lot. Yeah. So I have maybe on my own time I'll look up what Clarence Boddicker sounds like and acts like in a later episode. But the fact that such a gory hardcore R kind of grotesque movie that was at the time really called out for its violence was made into this, along with like horrible murderer characters turned into animated characters. Yeah. It's very amusing on a lot of levels. So
It is. It'd be funny if, because they had that footage from the first movie of Clarence and his gang shooting Murphy that got used in RoboCop 3 and in both the live action shows, it'd be funny if this animated series just used that.
But they animated it.
No, they just used live.
They just used live action stuff, and that's his memory.
And it's just as gory. Like they show his hand being blown off.
It should be in the opening credits, like telling you the backstory.
And also mention, although I don't think it's like a particularly memorable one, I did want to note that the theme song, the theme music, there's no lyrics to this, were written by Chaim Saban and Shuki Levy. Chaim Saban, I think a lot of people know because that's Saban is in Saban, who produces Power Rangers. He's a very successful producer. But Shuki Levy on his own sometimes, but often partnered with Chaim Saban, would write so many great theme songs.
Well, he did Mask and He-Man. Yeah,
Inspector Gadget. The pole position cartoon, just so many. Like
pole position.
You could do a great, you could just jam out to Shuki Levy, Chaim Saban music. So I was happy to see their name in the credits.
All right, so RoboCop Alpha Commando. 10 years later, but okay, this is a weird part of Alpha Commando.
Yes,
my beginning thoughts of Alpha Commando is I really liked it. I really liked what they did with RoboCop as far as a post-Toy Story Buzz Lightyear style hero who's got jokes now.
He's a pun machine.
I feel like they should have had RoboCop in going forward. And I'm not even saying that this would have made the movies better or not, because the movies were what they were. But I like that as a character, as somebody who lets loose very dry one-liners, like an action hero. Very dry, though, to the point where you don't even know that he understands what he's saying. But I kind of like that a lot about Alpha Commando. I feel like Alpha Commando is the best sequel so far. I feel like it's better than any follow-up in the TV live-action shows. I feel like it's better than 2 or 3. I feel like if they had made a live-action Alpha Commando movie, and that was the follow-up to, because Alpha Commando involves RoboCop coming back to life after being out of commission literally for 5 years, and he's rebooted and brought back into service. That's a good story, and then I liked his presence too. The world of Alpha Commando is something we'll talk about, but also it has a badass theme song.
It does, and they say the name RoboCop.
It's just RoboCop. They say it over and over again.
It's funny. I'm entertained. I'm amused, Matt, that you seem to have enjoyed this a little more than I did. To me, it's almost like Prime Directives, which is not to say I didn't love Prime Directives, but I think I liked it a little more than you did. Because I thought it was very silly, but still I was entertained and amused by the fact that
extremely silly.
RoboCop was so punny. And that the first thing he says after waking up is, "Who's the babe?" about his new partner.
But he's not saying it like Spicoli. He's saying it like when the arm's moving on its own, he's like, "I don't blame it." I was rather attached to it. Something like that. Or
they're a little stuck up. I don't know. He knows exactly what he's doing.
That's good stuff. It's good stuff, Eric. I don't know why you're complaining.
I don't know. I will say I very much enjoyed watching these shows because they're so of their time.
They're not 90 minutes, Eric. Each.
They're not 90 minutes. They're 22 minutes each. But also, just watching RoboCop brought me back to childhood 80s cartoons. And then RoboCop Alpha Commando is such a late 90s cartoon.
Yep.
The look of it, her hair, the way it's shaded, the little bits of CG, like in his viewport, like you see like a CG logo spiraling around, the Alpha Commando logo, I think. It's like, it's just very fun to watch these shows, which were made literally a decade apart. And to see like, oh yeah, that totally feels like other shows that I was watching at the time.
Oh my God. I mean, this was so much more enjoyable, not just because they were comedies of eras that we watch. I mean, cartoons of eras that we watch cartoons in, but the fact that they were so short and not, two 90-minute installments of awful, like what a miserable trudge last week was. Joey writes in on Patreon. This is what he writes in. I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't get back to sleep, so I watched RoboCop the series and Prime Directives back to back. The Dr. Cray Millardo middle initial reveal should be talked about along with Citizen Kane and the Rosebud reveal as one of the great reveals in media history. Crazy Millardo, that's fucking nuts. Then I watched Prime Directives, and when it said RoboCop will return in Meltdown, I thought, not for me. This is where I leave you, RoboCop. And then I walked fully clothed into a lake. That's what Joey wrote on Patreon, just so you know.
As long as he's able to write to us from the lake, I'm happy.
Alpha Commando.
Mm-hmm.
The credits say New Detroit 2030. The pilot says 2020. I guess
multiple times.
Yeah, I guess there's a 10-year discrepancy between what the credits want you to think it is and where the show wants you to think it is, but it's in the future. And
it's the first time the series has ever given us an on-screen year, so that it's funny that they fuck it up. I think it's just we're supposed to accept it's set in the year 2030, but it was very confusing that the pilot had multiple screw-ups because I'm like, wait, this show is about RoboCop being woken up because it at first I thought, oh, it's 10 years before the credits because we'll see what happens where he's like turned off. But then once he's woken up, I'm like, now they can't cut to 10 years later. That'd be so bizarre.
That would be weird. Well, what I liked about this is like it just assumes a backstory, a history of adventure with RoboCop. Like he went on from the first movie, he had a lot of adventures. He was eventually put out of commission, and now he's back. What those adventures are, we don't know. They could be great. We don't have to imagine that they were RoboCop 2 or 3.
There's a veiled reference to possibly him losing a partner, though.
Yeah, So Lewis, dies.
You think that Lewis's death.
We even get a flashback to his son doing TJ Laser moves.
Yes.
We've got that going on. So it is tethered to the first movie, and then Eric, how can you not love this RoboCop who's like wisecracking? He's got like rollerblades and a jetpack. He's got a glue gun.
The credits showed us a lot of stuff we didn't get to.
Well, not yet, but he could shoot a net,
a motorcycle, skates.
He's got like a heat fist, but all of that is also because while he was, robot asleep, Dr. Neumeier, named after the creator.
The creators of the series. Yeah. So Dr. Neumeier and Miner is his partner. So those are the last names of the guys who wrote the original RoboCop.
Like, he did a lot of add-ons. He basically gave him a lot of upgrades that he himself is sort of discovering as the show goes on. Then, and so, he's just a fun RoboCop who's also, this whole episode went on, and no one randomly just took him down with like a crowbar or a wrecking ball or hit him with a car and all of a sudden he needs to be reprogrammed. And it was also a while before we saw RoboCop because the whole opening involves Agent Nancy Miner, who works for, what is it? Division Alpha? So, so Division Alpha apparently is this clandestine organization,
SHIELD type,
that's supposed to go on unobserved intelligence missions. It's so secretive, in fact, that her own boss has like a blurred out face, and she doesn't know who it is. And this person, this unknown figure, tells her, "I've arranged someone to look after your son." So, she's not Who is this person you've arranged? And also, who are you? She doesn't ask any of those questions. But this is good enough for her. The fact that they made her a mom was very interesting.
That threw me. I was surprised by that.
I didn't look past this episode, so I don't know if the son is always just going to be off screen being looked after by somebody that we'll never meet. But there was an interesting sort of wrinkle in this. There's a little bit of cringy stuff going on with the nation of Netmanistan, and this person, like the representative of Netmanistan, being like, "Oh, your country has so many cars. You Americans are very lucky," and it's kind of like, "Oh, tug on your collar." Yeah. Not great, Bob. But she is assigned to look after this guy as he's boarding a plane, and she gets to scream out, "No assassinations on my watch." Which is, I think, should be yelled out in every action movie.
Right. It feels, I think a sign of the times is that it clearly feels like it's going to be much more serialized than the 88 show. It shocked me that we don't see RoboCop until almost 9 minutes in.
It takes a while.
You tend to have RoboCop in your RoboCop show, right?
But that basically eliminates the usual RoboCop intro of a crime going on. RoboCop shows up.
Yes.
And then, honestly, Eric, flip a coin 50-50. He either stops it or he fails miserably, based on everything we've seen. So, this is her. This is like an introduction to her, more specifically, as the new Lewis. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Her part, the way that their reference to Lewis is when he says it's hard to lose a partner because her partner was killed by a robot.
Yeah, so she's basically she's robot racist a bit, kind of like Will Smith's character is in iRobot, where he hates robots because of something that happened to him, right?
Yep.
So she's got a bug up her butt about robots because of what happened to her partner. Meanwhile, Lewis is also KIA. I don't know what happened to Lewis. Did she walk into a lake and drown?
I mean, again, I think this is where you can very loosely say the movie's happened, right? By him saying it's hard to lose a partner. That's all you need. It's like I don't think they're ever going to say like her name was Lewis and she got killed.
He accidentally glued her mouth shut with his glue gun.
Right.
And she suffocated. This show also has futuristic Reed dressed in future clothing with future hair and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
no future Cecil. I'm sad to say.
Well, he also got glued to death. It was a whole incident.
He had a horrific death. And it has a shadowy villain, a female villain, who sounds like Alison Brie has Zoya the Destroyer.
Because it is Alison Brie.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that? The evil organization, I can't remember what it stands for, is called DARC, but it's DARC. Because I think the ending is chaos or something. I don't know. So Sergeant Reed is the same guy. Eric, he has a grappling hook. RoboCop has a grappling hook.
And he says, "Shall we dance?"
That's a good line. And he's got his data spike.
You are all in on Alpha Commando, RoboCop.
Well, I'll tell you the best part of Alpha Commando. The absolute best part of Alpha Commando is
You're starting an Alpha Commando fan site. I can feel this.
It ends with RoboCop jumping on a bomb to shield everyone else from the blast, and it blows up. And she's like, "Oh no, RoboCop!" And if you don't watch beyond this episode, which I won't, RoboCop dies.
Sure.
And he dies a heroic death, saving everyone from a bomb. And for me, that's the end of RoboCop. Just like it is for us, the end of RoboCop on this podcast.
He activated a few years later, and then he died on his first mission.
But he saved the Netmanistan guy, and he dies. He said he had a few zingers, and he was out of there.
Miner can get back to her son who's off somewhere.
Being watched by a stranger, assigned to her by a stranger, with a blurry face. So yeah.
He also had before his heroic death, he also did a funny "How could you ever doubt?" and then slips and falls and gets like a can on his head. But he has to get back into things.
The voice of Dr. Cornelius Neumeier is Dean Haglund, who, if you're an X-Files fan, played Langley of The Lone Gunman, or if you're a fan of the Lone Gunman spin-off series, which didn't last very long. So he was Langley on the X-Files, which he would have been doing at this time.
Yep. That was a get.
Yeah, it was a get. It's like, we got Langley.
The thing that shocked me the most about this show is that it had 40 episodes. because I knew the 88 show was short-lived, and aired as what, like the Marvel Action Hour, where they were cycling in like, you know, some of the older shows. But I was shocked that Alpha Commando, which I had less of a memory of, aired for 40 episodes.
I'll tell you another reason why I'm not going past the pilot episode of Alpha Commando, and just in my mind, RoboCop has died nobly in the line of duty.
And the rest of the show is about Miner, like living, you know, like, you know, she's honoring his legacy.
Well, I'll tell you another. So here's another reason why I won't. Not just because I like the ending, but also because it's a 3-parter opener. It's like Punky Brewster. It's not a 2-parter, because obviously this is a cliffhanger. But this Justice Reborn story is 3 parts. So it's the first 3 episodes is Justice Reborn. I'm not watching 3 episodes. It's fine where it is right now.
I see that there is a 2-parter called Family Reunion, which I'm guessing is where his wife and son come back, because I read how it doesn't really make sense continuity-wise because they don't age his son up from his flashbacks, but this is supposed to be... Not only was RoboCop around for years, then he was in cryogenics for years.
Oh, no, does he work for OCP? Is that where Prime Directive's got the idea?
Maybe. Or he's a clone because he's still a kid and he shouldn't be.
Oh,
so
Eric, there's an episode called The Herminator.
Is there one called Cecil's Revenge?
Oh,
Ooh, DOS Reboot is a strong.
Well, you know, kids always get DOS Boot references.
Oh my god! I walked through the submarine set from DOS Boot when I was in Germany in college. It was very small.
There's one called H2 Uh-Oh.
These are pretty great. Really, a pretty girl is like I'm going to pronounce this milady. I get it. A pretty girl is like a milady.
Oh, where is that one? Oh, like a malady. I see.
Yes, but it's yeah.
There's one literally, Eric, called RoboDog. I don't know. I may be talking myself back into watching all of these episodes.
Oh my god! Return of the Herminator. The Herminator has 2.
He came back in the 2nd season.
Again, this is serialized, so they've got to. If you introduce Terminator, you need to. Oh, and Matt, look at episode 15.
Oh, Power Play. Oh, nice.
It's a power play.
Power play.
Didn't listen to We Enjoy Wrestling. This was a song. Matt said the phrase power play. I knew it was a song, but I couldn't place it, and eventually realized it was from the Lost Boys soundtrack. So there's your power play.
All right. There's also an episode called RoboPop.
And Really, Really Big Shoe, but it's SHOO.
Really, really big shoe. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I want to know what these are about. You know, because there are only 12 episodes for the first
next 39 weeks is going to be for Alpha Commando.
That's the thing. Is like the wiki page for the 88 show, you know, had episode descriptions. There were only 12, but that's how I knew that he fights the KKK. Here it is like we just have our imaginations to run wild. We don't know what this is.
Someone didn't want to enter in all 40 episode descriptions.
Oh,
so.
Well, that person is lazy. Dr. Crazy Lazy. Brawl in the Family? Come on. Thank you very much.
Also, looking at the writing credits, it's funny because Trish and I have been rewatching Batman the Animated Series, which is great, and a lot of like familiar names who wrote for comic books wrote episodes of that I didn't realize, and then I see one of the writers for Alpha Commando was Len Wein, the late great Len Wein, who best known as the co-creator of Swamp Thing and Wolverine. He wrote for both Marvel and DC for a long time, but those are the 2 characters that he is integral to, and he wrote for Alpha Commando.
Probably the 2 characters in the Marvel Universe with the worst hygiene. So, yeah, makes sense.
They both smell.
As we're saying. They're stinky boys. Okay. I'm just a stinky boy. Thank you, everyone, for this journey of RoboCop. I do realize that if you didn't listen to We Enjoy Wrestling, this was your first franchise that you went through us with. And so some people are like, why more RoboCop, give me a break. You know, I'm quoting people. And so.
That sounds like a character in this show.
But this type of thing is what we started doing on We Enjoy Wrestling when we became a little bit more bored with the wrestling product. It started with Hobbs and Shaw coming out and Eric realizing I had only seen kind of 1.5 Fast and Furious movies. Mm-hmm. And so basically that was our first franchise. We went through all the Fast and Furious movies and then Hobbs and Shaw. Then we decided to keep it going with franchises, so we did Friday the 13th and Saw and Mission Impossible. So if you want to hunt those down, we won't be redoing them for We Enjoy, but they do exist over on We Enjoy Wrestling, and we would do it sort of the same way, where it would be the last 45 minutes to an hour of the podcast, we would talk about the movie. So you can certainly find those if you are interested in our takes on those franchises over on We Enjoy Wrestling.
And 3 of those franchises have sequels this year that we, I think, should discuss. Has follow-up episodes, even if it's a different podcast, to those previous discussions.
Is Spiral coming out this year? Yeah, it should be.
Spiral's coming out. It's supposed to come out, again, these year delays.
Yeah, we'll see.
Spiral
So,
in May,
Fast
9 in June, and then Mission 7 this fall. Yeah.
Oh, Mission 7 is coming out this year.
Yeah, it was supposed to be summer, and then they pushed Top Gun into its slot, and they pushed Mission Impossible 7 to November, I believe. October,
right.
November.
Good times. Well, so that's what these franchises are all about. Like, those were specifically movies. I think this is the first time we actually delved into TV for the full franchise.
And I will say, because yes, this got I can enjoy bad stuff, and I know that's mileage can vary, but I will say this was this had some tough times, and it was the first time we'd done one of these that neither of us had seen a big part of it.
Yeah, that's true. Usually I'm the one who hasn't seen most of something.
Even with Fast and the Furious, I'd seen them all, and I also knew, they get better. You're gonna have fun watching these, versus these where we're we knew we loved the first one, and then we'd seen the second, but it was all got pretty vague after that.
Yeah, and I didn't have very many. Again, we mentioned we didn't have many memories of RoboCop 2 past Nuke.
Yes. We have some other franchises in mind. We're going to take a break here for at least a week, maybe a couple. We'll see, and then we'll kind of come at you with the next franchise, your next assignment. But I think we're going to next time around we'll probably go with one where we're a little more knowledgeable going in.
Sorry, Leprechaun. Okay.
See, Leprechaun is the great unknown, and I'm not saying we'll never do it. In fact, I think I'm more into doing it than Matt is. But
I think though, Russ on Twitter gave us an out, because I think so. He argued that we could do just a few of them, some of the sillier ones, because they're really not all connected, in a certain way. But he just brought up the fact that there is an actual new Leprechaun sequel that 2018 Halloweens it, which is it is only a direct sequel to the first movie. So we could do that, and then the new one, and just do 2 Leprechauns. Without even going to space or the hood. I don't know. Does that sound right? It doesn't feel right.
We'll see. I am curious at some point to maybe do Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which just confirmed that their new movie is a direct sequel to the first one, which is at least the 3rd time they've done that. Because they're even worse than Halloween with the forget everything. This is the sequel. This is the real sequel.
They're worse than Halloween?
Yeah. They've done it more. They've done more of reboots within
that franchise does have James Gale as Rothman. So
it does.
that's a point for it. Okay. Anyway, thank you all for joining us on this Robo Adventure. We'll be back next week with more entertainment news and main event horizon, if you will. Mm-hmm. And until then, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Shakma.
Shakma.
We should do Shakma too.
We should. It's on Shudder now.
There we go.